Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Just a quick announcement, so go ahead and follow me on patreon.com/bow-and-arrow-tarot to be part of the draw for the Dreams of Gaio Tarot deck giveaway. This deck is going to be given away on August 15th by a random draw of all of my patrons over on Patreon. And all I ask for is just $1 a month donation from you all on that site to help me be able to get more of these tarot decks and oracle decks and do more unboxings and reviews and giveaways. All right. But for right now, thank you so much, and on to the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We're going to be doing the weekly reading today for the sign of Pisces. Going to switch up the weekly readings a little bit, Pisces. I love you guys. You know, you're one of my part of my collective that is near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to change up the weekly readings a little bit to try to get out some more scenarios. I'd love to hear your opinion on it in the comments. Let me know what you think. And then I'm going to be continuing the weekly readings that I was doing before, but they're going to be more in the vein of divine feminine and divine masculine readings for each of the signs. Okay, so it's in effect, you're going to be getting 2 sets of weeklies for each of the signs now, which I'm going to endeavor to do. It's a lot of work. It's a big task, but I'm going to try to do it. So let's get right into your reading, Pisces. We're going to pull out 3 oracle cards this week. And see, we have Release Your Ex and Codependency. Interesting. And we have Past Life Relationship. All right. Wow. All right. So, Release Your Ex and Past Life Relationship did come out for some of the previous readings for the week, interestingly enough. But in addition to that, we're also going to pull out 3 animal spirit cards for you. And this is going to help us to find out, or it's going to help us to clarify, you know, what kind of elements you're dealing with this week. What kind of elementals in terms of personality, right? Could be water, earth, fire, air, or ether, right? And ether is more associated with chakra energy. And I'll talk about that if an ether card comes up. But let's just see what happens. And we'll see what your 3 animal spirits are that you're going to be perhaps working with, dealing with, interacting with this week for my lovely Pisces. All right? Here we go. All right, we've got beautiful air energy of hawk. All right. We have the unicorn again. Now, the unicorn, this is the 3rd time unicorn energy has come out. This is, in fact, ether energy. The alchemical symbol at the top, that circle, is this alchemical symbol for ether. And I don't review these in reverse, so we have also here the elk, which is also earth energy. Wow, so air, earth, and ether. No fire, no water. Interesting. So let's just talk about it real quick. I mean, the hawk is interesting. It's an interesting animal. The hawk is air energy, of course, but the hawk has this beautiful sight, this beautiful ability to see everything. Different than the eagle, right? The eagle is actually, in fact, fire, I believe fire energy. The eagle could be air energy as well, yes. But it's a different type of air energy, whereas the hawk, the eagle's more to do with transforming karma, right? Hawk energy is more to do with perception, taking in information, seeing. The hawk is more of a messenger. The hawk brings messages. The hawk brings news. The hawk is watchful, all-seeing. Where's the eagle? And I mentioned the eagle because there is an eagle in this deck as well, and I think that sometimes people get the 2 confused, because the eagle is more to do with like karmic change and transformation. It's more targeted on one specific area in your life, right? The hawk is more to do with watching your moves, being watchful, being all-seeing, keeping an eye on you. It's like when the spirits keep an eye on you. For some of you who believe that, like, your past spirits, your ancestors, your past, your departed loved ones are watching out for you. For those of you who have connections with various angels, etc., you believe that these entities are watching out for you. Hawk energy will be the type of energy that brings the messages in. Right? When you're either embodying your hawk animal spirit, you're opening up to these type of messages from the divine, or if you're dealing with somebody who's embodying hawk spirit, this person is able to bring messages to you in their interactions with you. When this appears as well, when this card appears, it's almost as if fate and destiny has their eyes on you, right? Everything is being watched. Your moves are being watched, your decisions are being watched, and it's almost as if you're not making the right kind of decisions that are in lockstep with what you kind of sort of should be in terms of your fate or your destiny, it's almost as if the messages start to come in to gently nudge you in the right direction. So when messages come in like this, in this way, in this feeling, you want to pay attention to it. Because oftentimes it's messages from beyond, from the divine, from the spirit, from the other part of existence that we are all trying to get closer to, right? And so now let's move on to ether energy. Like I said before, ether energy is to do with chakras, and the unicorn is associated with the 6th chakra of the 3rd eye, because we have the horn that extends from that portion of the head. So it indicates let's say almost like an antenna, a reaching out and opening up, and increasing your awareness of extrasensory perception, psychic links, other third eye energy, right? Seeing things that aren't seen with the regular eye, but that are seen with the third eye, that are seen through the mind's eye, the spirit's eye. Now, with the unicorn being a mythical creature, as mostly all the 7 ether animals or elementals are like mystical objects or mythical creatures, there's inherent within it this, this belief. There has to be some kind of belief there. If you are trying to increase your intuition or your ability, your psychic ability, you can't be a skeptic. You know what I mean? Like, it's, if you're going to be a skeptic, then that's where your mind is going to attune you, and that's what you're going to experience. So it's like this understanding that, like you have to have a bit of faith, and before you can get to a place where faith is not necessary anymore. And just belief, right? It's your belief and your intention that opens you up. So if you're seeking spiritual enlightenment or you're seeking spiritual advancement, then you have to open yourself up to kind of being more of a believer. You have to open yourself up to being more of a at least considering different types, different sides of life, right? And opening up your third eye, right? Opening up your third eye is intentionally desiring and believing that there's a reason for it to be open. A lot of times when a lot of us who seek to be spiritually evolved or enlightened or move towards that goal, we talk about our intuition. Yeah, my intuition, but you don't listen. A lot of people don't actually listen to it. They actually don't have the belief. They don't truly in their heart of hearts believe that they should just really be listening to this gut feeling inside of themselves. They don't trust where it comes from. This trusting of where it comes from is what I'm talking about. So, you know what I mean? This trusting that even if you don't have proof. And so trusting is not even so much as is a little bit different than faith, right? You trust, even if you don't know, and maybe sometimes you don't have all the faith in the world, you simply trust that it is there. And that's how you open up that chakra. Then we move on to elk, which is earth energy, and the elk is very kind of masculine, protective energy, right? The elk is ready to protect the family. He's ready to do whatever he needs to do. The horns indicate leadership. It indicates a certain sense of almost like a crown, almost royalty, right? The elk is single-minded in a way of that, right? Stable, resilient, headstrong. This is the Spirit animal for the father figure. And so in this way, like I say, this is the protective masculine energy, right? It represents the great earth element in the masculine form with the horns, right? The elk is the one, and this is not gender specific, but this is just the energy of it, right? This is the one, this animal is like established in themselves. They know what they need to do. They know what their values are. They're unshakable, right? This is kind of like that father figure that you see that is like, he knows who he is. He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants for his children. He's unshakable. You know, he's not you're not going to be able to go to him and shake his faith in his children or just say anything to him, and he's going to be wishy-washy. This is not the wishy-washy masculine energy, right? This is the strong, believing, supporting, faithful, masculine energy, the headstrong one, the one that will always kind of be there to protect you and to support you. Now, of course, twisted, this can be a very egotistical person. When this energy becomes twisted, you know, the elk's ego can become quite inflated. He can get a real kind of sense of, you know, self-importance, more than it should be. But for the most part, you know, this energy is really beautiful energy. It's very supportive. It's very confident. All right, so let's get right into your reading, Pisces. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to pull out a series of 3-card spreads, and we're going to look at different scenarios that are happening this week for different Pisces. And I'm doing the weeklies like this because that way I feel like it will open up the discussion for more scenarios that could be resonating with more people. And so I saved the main dynamic relationship reading that I was doing for weeklies. Like I said, I'm saving that for the divine masculine, divine feminine readings, which I will start doing as well this week. All right, guys, so let's start with pulling out your first set of cards. My beautiful Pisces, I love you guys so much. Both my parents were Pisces. Sometimes you wonder why I'm always like gushing. I gush about all the signs because I love all the signs for their own reasons. I'm just not one of these people who's like, I only deal with earth signs, or I only like waters. You know, like I just, honestly, I'm Sagittarius. So honestly, it's ridiculous. I can't even begin to explain why I would never buy into that. But both my parents were Pisces. And I loved them. And they were very fiery and emotional and practical sometimes. They were a lot of things, you know, but they were Pisces. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm so kind of gushy with you guys. All right, are we upside down? Yes, we are. So we have right out the gate, Judgment, Empress energy, and you have Page of Wands, right? So Judgment, you're releasing judgment. You're being a bit more nurturing. Could be that some of you are releasing your ex, coming out of a codependent relationship with your ex, right? Because you're feeling 3 major arcana. Empress energy is nurturing. I want to say nourishing for some reason. Maybe for some of you, it could be like in a sense of like nourishing yourself. You may have been undernourished in terms of your spirit. You may have been forgetting yourselves, you know. But whenever I see Empress energy, I always feel like she embodies that feminine kind of self-care, self-love. You know, she can only be fruitful and loving and creative and all of these things and productive when she takes care of herself, right? You see how she luxuriates in the garden. So we always talk about taking care of yourself. And I think for some of you Pisces, you're coming out of a period where perhaps you're coming out of a toxic relationship or a codependent relationship and you are free, right? You're kind of being freed, right? With this judgment. Judgment comes when you release judgment, where you release, you know, things that you've been telling yourself that no longer hold. It could be that some of you have gotten these messages coming in and you've been feel very validated. There is a Page of Wands here. So some of you are having like messages coming in, and these are messages of encouragement, enthusiasm. It could be someone you're talking to, or you could just be receiving these messages in the form of like what I was saying with hawk energy. Right? You could just be like coming across people and scenarios that in turn are these messages, right? And they're letting you know that it's time for you to kind of take care of yourself. Certainly, some of you will be meeting with somebody, and this will be somebody new, somebody perhaps you haven't seen before. There's going to be quite enthusiastic about being with you, knowing you, maybe being friends with you, and it's going to give you a little pep a little boost. All right, next spread we have 8 of Cups, 5 of Swords, and 2 of Swords. So for some of you, you're certainly releasing your ex, right? Eight of Cups is all about releasing the ex. It's all about releasing past life or past relationships that were no longer supportive. You know, you see the character walking away from the cups. They're walking towards a higher level of engagement, a higher level of relationship, right? 8 is the number for boundaries, all right? And you've learned how to set boundaries now. A lot of times we are with toxic people because we don't know how to set boundaries. We don't understand that boundaries are necessary. So learning how to set boundaries in your relationship is what allows you to kind of turn your back and move forward and move up. So some of you are very much releasing your ex, or you've just most recently released your ex, right? You also have come into kind of maybe a bit of a power struggle over it, right? So there's 5 of Swords. It could be that there's been some unfair treatment that's happened. It could be that somebody's been kind of trying to pull you back into a relationship, but they've been doing it by kind of like, I want to say they've been kind of lying or cheating, or they've been using manipulation, right? So you've turned your back, but somebody's not willing to let you go. Somebody may be an elk that you're dealing with, okay? In this scenario, somebody may be an elk. They may be very hard-headed and unwilling to let you go. And so they're resorting to all kinds of underhanded tactics to keep you. And you're finding yourself in a position where you're suddenly not sure of your decision. All right, Pisces? So just take care. If this is happening with you, you're resonating with this, just take care that this individual is using pretty underhanded tactics. This could be happening with you. That they're using manipulation to a certain degree to bring you back into a place that you don't want to be, right? So take care. Understand that, you know, if the messages coming in are positive, take them. Whenever somebody is bringing something negative into you, you don't have to take that. The land of the indecision, the 2 of Swords makes, you know, 2 of Swords talks about not being able to make a choice. Having to make a choice, but not being able to make a choice, and finally understanding that it's not about choice, but balance. It could be that what you need to learn is how to balance this individual in your life, right? If for whatever reason you can't completely let go of them because of responsibilities, or because you may have children with them, or there's some level of codependency here that kind of has to carry on, right? That could be if you have children with someone, right? It could be that, yes, you can't completely turn your back, but they're still manipulating you to bring you back in a way that you don't want to be. You have to learn how to, you know, get ahead of this situation, you know, control the narrative and change it from a decision that they may be trying to make you make that you can't make, to a balance which you can make. Chariot, 7, we have Page of Swords and Ace of Cups. So some of you are certainly about to start a whole new chapter in your life. And it's time to have a conversation with somebody about cutting ties, right? So the Page of Swords comes in when it's young, it's new, it's fresh, it's a conversation. But I think it's a conversation orientated at cutting ties with others so that you can move forward. You have an opportunity coming in. You have a beautiful career opportunity, an opportunity to make money out of something that you really enjoy doing. For some of you, it could be art or a passionate affair. Like, I don't mean a passionate affair like a love affair, but a passionate sort of endeavor, right? Something that brings you money, but something that makes you feel good too, something that speaks to your heart, not just like punching a clock, right? And you're about to start this whole new kind of chapter in your life. The Chariot is being prepared. You realize this, you're about to go on a path towards a dream, and you cannot, you can't bring some of these people with you. You just can't. You have to let them go. And this week is a week where you're going to have that conversation. 10 of Pentacles, we have 5 of Cups, and we have 3 of Wands. Right. Okay, so some of you are at the end of a relationship again. So this is what we're talking about with release your ex and codependency. A lot of you Pisces this week are ending relationships, moving on out of relationships, moving on from connections with people, tying off connections. 10 of Pentacles indicates the end of a chapter of your life. It may not have been a bad chapter, you know, it may not have been necessarily this horrible chapter, but it is the end of a particular chapter in your life. This chapter includes a certain relationship or certain set of relationships. It could include a certain job, but that portion of your life is just coming to a close, and you're about to start a new portion. Some of you are feeling quite sad, you know, you're feeling quite regretful over some things. Some of you are dealing with someone who's feeling quite regretful, right? I want to say almost like some of you are dealing with somebody who, like, whereas you're like, okay, look, we've had our run, right? We've had our run, we've had our happiness, we've had our little time, right? But you know, we're moving apart, we're growing apart from each other. This phase of our life is over. We're not there anymore. It's time for us to move on, right? It's time for me to move on. It's time for you to move on. And so 10, because 10 is closure and beginning. So it's closure on one stage and the beginning of a new stage. And again, doesn't always mean, when things close, it doesn't always mean they close because they're bad. It just closes because it's the end of that phase, right? So you're ready to move on and you're feeling quite confident, right? And your person here is feeling quite sad. They're feeling quite, now this could be vice versa as well. This could be your person is feeling like this and you're the one who's feeling quite like remorseful and sad, Pisces. It could be you who's feeling kind of like, well, you know, because this individual is feeling like, oh man, maybe we wouldn't be at this stage if it wasn't for all of those things that happened and all of those things that either I said or all of those things we fought about or whatever. You know, 5 of Cups, it talks about, it's almost like crying over spilt milk, but it's so much deeper than that. 5 of Cups is when we cry over things that happened that ruined relationships in the past. And it's too late, right? The cups have been spilled, it's too late, right? There's nothing you can really do about it, right? But you cry over it. It's literally like crying over spilled milk, but on a level to do with deep relationships and love affairs, right? And so either vice versa, either you or your partner are feeling like this, right? But the other person is ready to move on, and I do feel like this is you, Pisces, ready to move on. You're being very patient about it. 3 of Wands, you want to move on, you're ready to move on, but you are being very patient because 3 of Wands does talk about exercising patience. You know, it's right after that 2 of Wands where you've been going. 2 of Wands is Mars and Pisces energy. So then when we get to 3 of Wands, you know, you slow down, you're being a bit more patient, you understand that you can't go too fast all the time. And I think also you're being very patient with your person, right? Because up until now, you've been in a really good relationship with this person, and it's like you feel bad that they're kind of so heartbroken, but you are certainly ready to move on. Page of Cups, Emperor energy, and 2 of Pentacles. So some of you are certainly, this is interesting, some of you have just recently started a new relationship with someone, right? And it's like you still have an old relationship going on. And again, here we go. You need to release somebody. This new relationship is nice and new and young, but here you are, your person, and this is an Emperor energy. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be an Aries that you're dealing with, right? Because we don't have any fire on here, right? But this could certainly still be Elk energy, and Elk is Earth energy. This person could still be very much that Elk in your life, that person who's being stubborn. They don't want to let go, right? This could be for some of you who are a little bit older as well, because you've been with this person for quite some time. And this new affair is quite, it's a new affair. You may not have had an affair or a new person in your life on that level for quite some time because you've been with this person for a long time, right? But it causes some issues. It causes you to have to make a choice because now you're juggling, right? And I think for you, some of you, this person is saying, your person that you've been with for a long time, maybe you're out there saying, well, look, I'm not going to, support you. I'm not going to, if that's what you're going to do, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? And so right now you're juggling maybe, trying to like have them and have this person, trying to afford both lifestyles, perhaps if it's a case of that. And so in this case, we want to talk about codependency as well. If you're that, are you that codependent on this Emperor energy, this Emperor person that you can't just get on with your life when you choose to, right? Like, ideally, when we're with somebody, like, at any given time, if you don't want to be with somebody, no matter how long you've been with them, you should be able to get up and leave and move and do what you need to do. You shouldn't have to stay with them because of a scenario, because finances or circumstances, right? Because then that becomes a codependent relationship. You're no longer there because you truly love them. You're there because you have to be. Maybe for some of you, this whole new relationship is highlighting that. All right, we have 10 of Wands, 5 of Wands, and the Sun. So some of you certainly coming to the end of a long struggle. You're ready to lay down the burdens. Again, you're getting a lot of clarity. Yeah, you can see with the readings, for those of you who are used to reading cards, you can tell even on a cursory basic interpretation of the cards, you can see how often the spread is talking about moving away, releasing an ex, stopping a codependent relationship. Here we have 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands talks about coming to the end of a long struggle, a very difficult time where you collected a lot of baggage, you collected a lot of hang-ups. You're now ready to lay them down. You're ready to lay down all of the kind of like effects of being in a toxic situation or being in a codependent situation that can give you these kind of bags to carry around, right? This baggage. You're ready to lay it down. You're done. It could be, again, that you've had messages coming in. Perhaps some of you, in conjunction with the messages and the opening of your third eye, you've perhaps seen your future and you've seen that there's something better for you, right? Now, you wanting to do this is causing a lot of strife, right? It's causing a lot of strife in the home or with your person, but this strife is bringing in even more clarity. You're seeing even more clearly now why you need to release them, why you need to get out of the situation. Because why should they be so unhappy about you laying down so many burdens? Why should they be so unhappy about you becoming free, right? Well, it's a power struggle. Fives are the number, 4 is the number for power struggle. So your person really shows their ass when you try to move forward, and that gives you a lot of clarity this week. 3 of Swords and 2 of Wands. So some of you have a third-party energy going on. Somebody's hurt you or cheated on you. They've lied to you. They haven't been completely honest with you. And you realize this, and you're moving on. You're moving on, right? It's time. You've had it. You're turning your back on them. You're like, all right, you know what? It's time for me to get on with my life and my decisions. Again, there's a movement here, and there's an indication of movement away from something that is quite toxic. 3 of Swords is quite toxic energy. So again, we're moving away from codependency and releasing your ex, releasing people who are toxic to you. And then 7 of Swords comes in. So somebody is coming in and being very hasty. They're being very kind of duplicitous. They're trying to beat you in a way, right? They're trying to take your joy away from you in this weird kind of way. Because 7 of Swords is the great thief in the night, right? This is the person, and oftentimes this is the friend. Let me tell you something. 7 is the number for dreams and aspirations. 7 of Swords talks about, you know, when you are so eager to achieve something that you don't want to work for it, right? You'd rather steal it or you'd rather cheat for it. It's the great tortoise and the hare story, right? This character on this card is the hare. It's the one who never finishes the race because he keeps cheating and doing underhanded shit, and he never even ends up finishing, right? So, some of you out there have friends that are playing this role with you, and these friends are the ones who are causing this 3 of Swords, and I'm not even sure if you know that, but perhaps with that Hawk energy bringing messages in, for some of you, you might realize that. Certainly this week, you might realize through conversations that, wait a minute, hang on a second, you're the reason why I'm going through this. And then you guys are like, oh, hell no. 2 of Wands, you are so ready. You turn your back on them and your friends. You turn your back on a whole group of individuals who have done nothing but been really negative and just been really out of pocket, you know, with you, and just stealing, you know, behind your back, just trying to mess with your hopes, your dreams, trying to put obstacles in the way, trying to take your joy away. And you realize this week, Pisces, and you say no more. All right, I'm going to call it. This is the last one. I did pull a lot of cards for you guys. So this is going to be the format for the weeklies for a little while now until I decide to change it, or we decide to change it up based on your comments and feedback. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know how you feel. I'm going to be going ahead and recording the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine relationship for the week for all of the signs, and they will be uploaded between between today the 4th and tomorrow the 5th as well. So you'll have the regular readings that I normally give you for the weeklies in addition to these. All right, guys? Let me know how you feel about it. If it resonated, please like, subscribe, share. Help me grow my channel. This is what I do full time now. And this is another reason why I developed these new spreads, these new ways of laying the cards for you, so we can get deeper, so that I can explore more options. And all of this is because I'm able to devote more time to you guys, all right? And so the more you help me grow my channel, the more I can give you back. I love you guys. I love you, Pisces, so much. Thank you very much, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye, Pisces.